Hello, everyone. This is Sabini, and this channel is called Timeless Flux. I'm being called to do these live readings. It's not exactly what I've been doing for the past couple of months, but today specifically, I had a live reading in the morning, and now I'm just doing another one here from Brazil. I hope you're all feeling okay. I'll have three options for you today to choose from, and we're going to talk about the rest of this year 2020. What are the energies? What are the possible manifestations, things to pay attention to, etc., etc. Okay, so I'm going to show you the options from which you're going to choose. First option is represented by this beautiful seashell. Hope you can see it. It's my favorite seashell in the world. If you watched the first video here in the channel, you know why. Okay. So option number one is the seashell. Option number two is going to be this beautiful amethyst crystal. Okay. This is option number two. And option number three is going to be this Turmaline, which I think you cannot see in the video, but it has beautiful silver markings. I really like it, and it's a highly protective stone. Okay, so option number one is the seashell. Option number two is this amethyst crystal, and option number three is the Turmaline. Okay, for today's live reading, I have already shuffled the cards, so I'm just going to open them here, and I'm using the this La Santa Muerte deck. Okay, I don't know if you know it, but I bought it precisely because I found it here on YouTube. Other readers using it, I like it very much. I'm also going to use the Moonology Oracle, okay? And I'm going to use cards from the Timeless Flux Oracle, which was channeled by myself and is responsible for the name of this channel, okay? So for those of you who have chosen the seashell, first message I have here from the Moonology deck is a win-win outcome is forecast. Okay, so this is very good energy. Hope you can see it. This is full moon in Libra. So beyond talking about only a win-win outcome being forecast, it's also talking about balance. Okay, a win-win outcome in the end, it talks about it talks about balance, right? But in this case specifically, it's like there's something you can do right now in finding and reaching out for balance. Okay, that could come from new plans, new kinds of new organizations you might propose in your life, new schedules, new ways of facing your mornings. I'm hearing, but also also you can ask for help, for the help of other people in order to find this balance. So maybe for some of you at this point, you have people who are influencing your life. I'm not saying that all of them will be crazy makers, as people say, but I see that for some of you, your friends, your family, whomever you live with, has a huge impact on your level of balance. Okay, you can you can both ask for the help of these people, active help of these people in order to find more balance, and also consider what you would like to have in your life and what you would like to have removed. Okay, because what I see here is that deal with what is not exactly what is not I'm sorry, I think I have I had a connection problem just right now, so I'm going to repeat the last sentence. You are at a phase in your life in which you know exactly what you should move on from and what needs to stay in your life. But the thing is, maybe you're feeling a little bit hesitant on whether you have the right perspectives on matters or not. And what this card is actually saying is you already know the kind of life you want to create. So now it's a matter of taking action, as involved in finding balance as you would like to be. Okay. Um, One of the possibilities is that you you question yourself. There's some self-doubt going on, and the other possibility is that you need other people to cooperate in order for you to find balance. Okay. And maybe you're afraid of reaching out to them. For what I see here, especially since we're talking about the rest of 2020, so I'm envisioning this period of from June to December. What they're saying is that it will be easier for you to communicate with other people and express your needs if you take some time to think about what you want and what you don't want in your life. Make a list or something, but a win-win outcome is forecast. So let's see what the rest of the cards have to say, and they all have specific meanings here. The first card talking about you is the Hierophant from La Santa Muerte deck. Okay, so it confirms the message of the Oracle card when it says that you're at a moment in which you have studied a lot in order to reach some conclusions that were important for you. This could mean studying like traditional classic studies. You're actually attending courses. You're trying to maybe work with this time we're living right now in order to I don't know, to read more and to get more information on the practices and the things you want from life. But it could also mean that you have taken some time recently to just try to organize your mind when it comes to um, your priorities, when it comes to your. So what I see here is that you're acting from a studied perspective. You're acting from a perspective that's actually well thought of. You have considered matters and things going on in your life for quite some time, and now you think that you've reached a conclusion in which what you would like to manifest, especially when it comes to balance. Okay, I see that for some of you, issues on balance, like I'm working too much, I'm giving too much in this relationship, and I don't know how to prevent it, or I don't know how to change to shift the balance. Issues on balance in general are very important for this group, okay? But you have studied and you have reached some conclusions, and sometimes you question your own conclusions. So this card's here saying that, okay, no, you're right. You know what needs to go, when you know what you need to move on from, and you know what needs to stay in your life and be nurtured and be built and, simply grow. But then I have a context here for past, present, and future. And for the past, I have the Seven of Swords, okay? Which is yet another confirmation, but adding to the energy a bit to say that, yes, you have studied what you need to do in life and what the better strategies to get to the place you want to be in. But also in the past, you felt it was not an easy process for you. You felt like kind of even stuck when it came to observing your life and analyzing your life and considering the best possible paths to take. So I see you here in this energy, like, okay, I really don't know exactly if I should even be considering my life from a strategic viewpoint. You could maybe have felt that this self-knowledge attitude was too much, that it needed to be more practical, that you needed to get out of your head. It was a period that was really intense, and for some of you it corresponds to the first semester of this year. But once you got out of there, you got a perspective of every single thing you've done in your life and how abundant your context right now really is. Okay. So that's why you had to feel stuck into this self knowledge uh, thing that maybe made you feel a little bit even embarrassed, I hear, for some of you, because you thought you should be doing more, you should be putting yourself more out there. And in fact, this period that you've just lived was very important, because now you have a different understanding of your values, of whatever it is that you have to offer to the world, of how abundant you are. I'm thinking about a situation, um, when you come from a period of thinking that, of working with a lack mentality, and thinking that you need more, that your efforts are not paying out, that you are maybe wrong to pursue a certain path, and then you just simply have to stop whatever you're doing, or maybe to slow the rhythm, because we can never really stop, and start considering, okay, what am I doing wrong? And then once you're there at that stage that I see you in this first semester, in the past, dealing with your priorities, you start seeing that there are a lot of people who are in a worse situation than you are. That actually you're really abundant, even if it is only considering the many talents you have already had the opportunity of exercising in this world. I see you here in a present, in a position that is, okay, I know myself more, and I know that whatever I've been dedicating in this last couple of years is going to be useful in the future. Maybe you don't even know exactly why, you don't know what for, but you know that they're going to be useful. These gifts, these talents, this exercise on creativity, whatever you've been dedicating yourself to, it's going to become your path in this life. And then for the future, because of that, what I see is that you are going to reach the end of a long period. And the card I have here is the Ten of Swords. Okay. You're going to reach the end of a long period of over anxiety and stress, especially living in your mind. Now, there's a message here before I move on to the part in which what you know, what you're aware of, what you don't know, what this next semester is actually going to bring in more material terms. Um, there's a message here that I consider really important. For most of you, I see that you actually try to be as practical and down to earth, um, and have your, you're the kind of person that likes to have your agenda all figured out, and then the schedule to match it. You like to know exactly what you want from things and from people, and you like to have a corresponding schedule to match it with indicators, key performance indicators, the works. But then you consider yourself a very practical person. After this period of self-analyzing and maybe having to slow down, maybe even due to the social isolation we're experiencing right now, if you are watching this in 2020, then because of that, you realize that maybe you're not that practical. Maybe a lot of the things that you've been doing in your everyday life, they were not even there due to some kind of perception of the world, of the external world. They were only there because they corresponded to the strategy you had, you were keeping up in your mind. And maybe this strategy was not the best for you. Once you stopped and you could start realizing, okay, these are my values. Okay, then it became clear to you, why am I even doing some of these things? Why am I even having this kind of relationship? Why am I even? And on the other hand, you could also feel abundant in the sense of say, okay, I know exactly why I trained that. I know exactly why that relationship ended, because then it led me to a different thing. Okay, so what I'm talking about is you were not as practical as you thought you were. You were just like accumulating tasks, and accumulating tasks and schedules that made you feel productive. But in the end, um, a lot of those things, a lot of those activities didn't match your character, didn't match your mission in life, didn't match what you wanted to manifest. And now you are clear about that. Now at least you can see that, okay, I had some time to reconfigure my own my own perspectives about myself, about my life, to see it from a distance, to see a higher perspective, so I feel better, even if I can't actually start everything that I would like to start at this moment. So because of this whole process, the following semester, the next semester, the rest of 2020 is going to be all about focusing on living a life in which you are not being too hard on yourself. Then it seems like something really abstract, something that you're going to meditate about, and this is also good. But actually, with this Ten of Swords here, what I'm seeing is that you're going to be doing this in your everyday life in a very practical way. It's like you already considered yourself practical, but now you understand how to actually be practical and still do things that favor yourself, you know? So what you're going to do is every day you're going to consider, okay, is this making me feel bad? Is this making me feel good? What is this making for me? Why is this in my life? And for some of you, I even see that you're feeling kind of nauseous, you're feeling kind of sick when you consider some of the things you've been doing, because they even if you still believe that they can bring you something, they can bring you some kind of material result, they are simply not good. They do not taste good. Talking about the internal experiences of life, okay, the emotional backlash is too harsh. You don't want to go there anymore. So what I see for you this next semester is whatever comes your way is going to be analyzed under the filter of what makes you feel good, what makes you comfortable, and more than that, what aligns you to a sense of excitement and joy that represents, okay, this is the path I need to follow because this is coming out of a place of pure love. Okay, so having said that, I have a card for what you already know and what you don't know. And they complement each other, because normally what we know is an aspect of whatever is unconscious or yet not review, if you prefer. So the card for what you already know is the Hangman. So I see here that, you know, at this moment it's not possible to move a lot. It's not possible to start projects exactly, but this is a moment of observation, and it fits perfectly with everything I was saying before. But you also know that this observation is important, this observation is relevant, and that you need, well, the Hangman actually is a card that talks about perspective, because in this representation here in this deck, I'm focusing on talking about observing, um, talking about being standing still for a moment just to catch your breath and to see if you still have the big picture correctly. But but in other representations, like in the Rider Waite deck and in the Tarot de Marseille, this card is depicted by a man that's being hanged by its feet. So what we have here is a card talking about perspective. It's a card talking about not only standing still, not only being unable to move, but also and mainly being unable to see things, because there's nothing else you can do from a completely different perspective. Okay. What you don't know related to this new perspective is that some of your passions, and now I understand better what I was even saying in the context before. Some of your passions, um, they are not the best for you. So I see here a situation in which the idea you have about what you like is sometimes different from what you actually experience once you start engaging in certain activities. So you may have a list of things that you think, okay, I would really like that. But once you start actually experiencing them, the taste's completely different. Okay. Your internal perspective, your feelings, your thoughts go to different places. Okay. Of course, I could be talking, and I think some of you might be this kind of person, to hyper idealizators, people that are idealize everything and everybody too much. So once they have the real experience of what it is doing this thing or being with this person, they are, completely overwhelmed. It's so different from everything that they've imagined. But I see that in general, no matter how your personality works, it's a problem on, um, you have a list of things that you think you should like, but you do not necessarily like them once you start practicing them. So why is this important? Because for the first time, and it has already started in the past, but it's going to be stronger. The signal is going to beam louder from the second, from this next semester on. For the first time, you're going to actually see that you have to make a choice. Even, do I continue doing whatever looks good on paper for my consciousness? Do I continue doing whatever I think I like, or should I trust experience? Should I trust my body? Should I trust sensuality in the sense of what I can experiment through my senses? Should I trust the actual effects of having performed something? Okay. And I see that it will become easier and easier for you to do the second choice, to just say, okay, no, I don't want a life that I'm going to show to other people, or even to show to a maybe an older version of myself who wanted to have these things. Okay. I want a life that's true, that's honest, that's authentic. I want a life that feels good. Okay. So because of that, the first thing I see happening is that you're going to feel drawn to experiment more, to go out more. Of course, now it's very difficult to do that. But even if you have a balcony, or if you can just reach your windowsill, then you want to put yourself out there in the sense of feeling the sun, talking to other people. Maybe you try to have more connections online while we are in this isolation period, and then you just want to break free from that. You will want to experiment more in order to understand what you truly like, and you will value more whatever experience you feel that really nurtures your body, your senses, and makes you feel good. Okay. Now I have a card here for what helps and what hinders in this process. Okay. And so far, for the rest of 2020, I do not see anything like, oh, you're going to get more money, you're going to find even more abundance, or you're going to meet someone. No, what I see here is that you are already entering this place of understanding how abundant you are, because you understand yourself better. So this process is going to get deeper and deeper and deeper, and you'll finally see that you're responsible for the actions that you're going to just perform for the makeup of your life. In a sense, it's just like in the past, you never had the time to experiment enough, or never allowed yourself to experiment enough in order to know how you wanted your days to look like. Or you never, for some of you, I see that it's like you had some kind of trouble in childhood with being happy, and creating opposite beliefs, like either I'm happy or I work hard, or maybe either at peace or I'm doing something productive. So you never actually gave yourself permission to experiment and just see, okay, like a buffet, like life's buffet. What do I really like? And this is the process that I see starting to happen in the second semester. This is much more delicious than telling, okay, I'm going to find someone, or I'm going to have more money, because you're going to become more self-sufficient. More self-sufficient. You're going to understand what self-sufficiency actually means, and you're going to be the author of this change. Okay, so um, this is a deep internal workings group. So for what helps and what hinders in this process, in order to expedite it, in order to make it even deeper, what helps is the Knight of Pentacles. Okay, so what helps is the sense of abundance you now have, and this abundance can also um, manifest in a sense of, I have all the time in the world. I have as much time as I need. I don't need to hurry. I don't need to be always defensive in terms of time. I don't need to always have, this tight schedule in which I just try to make things in like half the time because I already know I'm going to have problems if I don't run. Okay. No, time is abundant. Okay. And also, just a moment, because Lottie here, hello Lottie, welcome, is asking if you can get if she can get a reading. Yes, you can, but actually today I'm doing 3 options reading and they're closed. But I'm going to do a live reading on Friday. So if you check on my channel, you see, and you can press the reminder that, hope you can get it, because I'm going to be answering questions for the people who arrive first. Okay, so if you come back on Friday, I can do your reading. I hope you are one of the first to join. Thank you for asking. Okay, so moving on with the reading for option 1. So you have this abundant sense of time going on, and the idea that fruition is your main topic right now. It's like what you can actually do, and what you can dedicate yourself to is not exactly thinking about how to build a different future, or how to move on from the past energies that are not serving you as much, but staying in the present and experimenting so that you can have more and more awareness on how to become the best version of yourself. Okay, this is what helps. So there's also advice here. Okay, if you feel that you're getting stressed, if you feel like you're too much into what the world's living right now, or if you feel that you're out of this frequency that you have just achieved, come back. Work with meditation, work with yoga, work with affirmations, whatever you have to do to come back to this abundant frequency, because this is where you'll find self-sufficiency. Okay, what hinders a little bit on this process is that I see you, this is the devil in reverse. Okay, so I see you a bit squeamish, maybe a bit even shy about spending money also in these experiments that you're doing. Okay, so I'm not saying okay, just enter this I don't know, this expenditure crazy phase and you don't have to worry, money will return. No, this is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that sometimes you can be over conservative when it comes to how you spend your money, and you would like to spend in some of these experiments of your new self, or even to know if you like a certain kind of food, a certain kind of place, or maybe even to have whatever it takes to perform your work, or okay, or to create what you want to manifest. And you need to let this go a little bit. It's not about spending like crazy, but it's about just rethinking the value things have, actually the value of money. Okay, I don't know, $10, whatever the case is, whatever the currency is, in your country. Okay, so how many hours have I worked in order to obtain this amount of money? Okay, so I know that I'm investing, I don't know, 5 hours, 10 hours, whatever, in in, I don't know, paper, ink, um, anything that I need to create what I want to create, or food because I want to experiment on that also. Maybe organic food. Maybe because you want to shift something in terms of how you eat and your health. How many hours of my life am I investing if I buy this? And then this will give you more of a balance when you start considering, okay, this is a good investment. I'm going to invest 5 hours of my life in, I don't know, ink, Canva, whatever, because I want to experiment with painting. Okay. So this is about not being a miser, but also not overspending. This is about learning how to control your money in terms of hours devoted to um, to acquiring it. Okay, understanding money as energy and understanding where you want your energy to go. Hello, Rush. Hey, I'm just wrapping up this first option reading here. So this is going to be very important, and this is also part of a process for your second semester. Now I have advice and okay, nothing new in the horizon here. So the advice is saying cut whatever you need to cut from your life after you've considered everything, after you've observed the bigger picture. What have we been talking about since the beginning of this reading? A win-win outcome is forecast, but you need to consider who should stay in your life, who should go, what should stay in your life, what should go, and what actions are you going to put your energy in. And you are, because of this first semester, you are much more aware of who you are and how to make those changes, how to abandon any habit that's been, depleting you of your energy, and how to get away from relationships that don't work anymore. So you already know how to do that. The second semester is going to be all about implementing what you already know, experimenting. Don't let money stand on your way in the sense of, I'm too conservative in my investments. I've never invested on that. Should I? Yes, you should, because you're experimenting the kind of person you want to be, the better version of yourself. Answers are not going to come quickly, but it's even important for you to experiment in order to understand that you have you have your life in your hands, on your hands. You can grab the kind of life that you want to have, so to speak, because you now have the clarity to design this self-sufficient person that you're becoming the second semester. Okay, this semester is about internal work. It's about internal work, and for what I see here, you're happy to do it because you have realized your value, what you have to offer to the world, and you have realized that you are abundant in your own way. And this is the best case scenario for anyone who wants to manifest anything. As a summary of this first option here, I have, at the moment, your life is not balanced, just like I said in the beginning with this moon in Libra. Okay, this is the Temperance in reverse. Okay, so the basic message for this next semester is you need to get back to balance. But for the first time, this is not going to be balance based on someone else's opinion, on someone else's perspective. This is going to be balance based on true, accurate knowledge about yourself and about the person you want to be. And I also have here a card from the Timeless Flux Oracle, the which is the Knight Brothers card. It's written in Portuguese, right? I'm Brazilian, so. And its inscription says, in the dark, owls recognize themselves by their eyes. Okay, so this is talking about your soul family, your friends. This is talking about people that are actually going to help you increase energetically, but it is in reverse. So what I see with this reversal here is Be careful with your associations. Okay, there are still people in your life who are not meant to be there, are depleting your energy. So focus on your own path for the time being, and focus on um, aligning with the energy you want to build from, so that you can naturally see what relationships are not working anymore. And I even see that for some of you, it's not even about cutting people off. In some cases, it could be, but it's about aligning yourself with an energy and allowing this energy to show through your actions in a way that these people are going to leave your life by themselves. Okay. So this was the reading for option number one. um, Candy, take her. Could I have one? And Rush, could I have one next? People, I'm not doing free readings today, and I'm not doing readings here on this live, but I'm going to do a reading on Friday. So if you set your reminder there in my on my page, you can have access to free readings on Friday. Okay. This is going to be at 6 p.m. Brazilian time, probably, I don't know, Eastern Standard. It's going to be like 8 or 9, something like that. Okay, but today I'm focusing on readings for free options that I've shown in the beginning of the video, and I'll be happy to read for you, to do some free readings next Friday. Okay, so let's see. For those of you who've chosen option number 2, we still have 2 options to go, okay, if you're arriving now. And for these options, I also have cards from La Santa Muerte. I'm going to start with the Moonology deck, and I have a card from the Timeless Flux Oracle, okay? Okay, option number 2 is for those of you who've chosen the Amethyst crystal. I'm so sorry that it's hard to see it in this light because it's such a beautiful crystal. Okay. It's an energy shifter, transmuter. Okay. So your first card here, option number 2, is work through your fears. Okay. And this is new moon in Scorpio. Okay. Work through your fears. So for this next semester, for those of you who've chosen option number 2, what I see is that you find the courage. I'm going to open your card here, which is the 5 of Wands in reverse, just to get a bit more of a context, because this is a trickier situation than the situation I was talking about for option number 1. Okay, so I see that you are at a specific moment right now in which a lot is coming up from your unconscious representations of life, from deep-seated feelings. A lot is coming up to the surface for you to deal with. And this process is going to it's going to continue a little bit through the next semester. Okay, I'm not going to tell you, okay, this will pass and this will soon pass. It's not the case. It's just not the case here. But I can tell you more details about what this process represents in your spiritual journey, and what's happening right now that's making you afraid, or that's presenting a little bit of a resistance moving forward. Okay, so what I see here is that you used to be, or at least thought about yourself as the sort of person that always has the best solution with this with this 5 of Wands in reverse here, especially in this deck, La Santa Muerte deck. So you always thought about yourself as the person who can solve issues, the person who sees clearly, and maybe better than other people in the group. You saw the solution. You could systematize what everybody else was saying and then produce whatever needed to be produced. You saw yourself as kind of a mentor or a leader of some sort, okay? And then at this moment, it's very hard to connect with this version of yourself because through your dealings, I don't know if this is specific. This is specific, specifically related to this isolation period, but it could be. As you work through your projects and your interaction with other people in this period, in the present, so a period of up to 3 months back and up until today, you found a lot of characteristics, a lot of qualities in yourself that you tend to avoid and you tend to keep out of this leader persona. Okay, they were there and you simply just had to deal with them. So I see you now having to deal with maybe childhood issues, memories you cannot really understand, things that maybe you thought you had already overcome. And now let's understand this process. Why is this happening to you right now? And how does it move to the next semester? Okay. We already know that for the next semester, this kind of attitude in which you're dealing with the deepest parts of yourself and deep feelings that maybe you didn't explore for some time now. We know that this is going to continue. For this influence is going to continue over your head for the next semester. But what I see here is that in the past, with this with this Knight of Swords, in the past, you started a lot of process. This could be work, this could be relationships, this could be many different things. But you started a lot of processes that were based on this image you had of yourself. I'm a leader, I can do it. Even in relationships, because when we use the word leader, maybe a lot of times people understand that leaders are the people um, who organize things in terms of the professional areas, in terms of occupations in general, studies, etc., more practical and work-oriented areas of the life. But you could even be a person that understands your role in the family as a role of leadership. And in the past, it was very important for you to keep seeing yourself as a leader and to have everybody else seeing yourself as a leader. I'm not saying that you are not really a leader because this is not what the game is talking about, but I'm saying that you put a lot of effort, a lot of energy in keeping up this leader facade, okay? And maybe even putting a lot of energy in this facade and not considering that maybe it wasn't necessary because your everyday attitude, your everyday actions are leader bound or leadership bound. You were already a leader. It didn't matter if you seem to be a leader or not. But for you, for some reason, you really thought that it was important to not only be a leader, an actual leader, but to be seen as a leader by other people and by yourself. You had something to prove to yourself. So now, at this moment, when these energies you kind of don't feel comfortable about are just rising up for you to deal with them, what's happening is that you have a completely different perspective about yourself that kind of shows you that a lot of your leadership was accidental, or maybe not even accidental, but it might feel that way for some of you, but you thought that you were responsible for every single project in which you find yourself in this leadership position, and you drove in the success of these activities. Like, it was very important for your ego, for your constitution of character, to see yourself as the main drive, the main powerhouse behind this project is. This could even be your family. So the main powerhouse behind your family. I'm the one holding everybody together, things like that. And then now you're seeing that a lot of the things that you used to do as a leader, they could be actually accidental, or better, a better word than accidental would be serendipitous. Like they are related to this kind of coincidence that's not actually a coincidence. It's just the universe, God, whatever you believe in, helping push you in your leadership, which is actually your direction, what you were here to make. But you're kind of falling from sky in the sense of you're seeing that even when you're a leader, you can control much less than you thought you could. And this is the problem right now, because it made you a little bit insecure about putting yourself out there as a leader again. Um, you tended to see whatever you did, whatever you wherever you were leading, as something very rational, something very thought of, something very mental. And now you're realizing that there's a lot of spirituality in leadership. There's a lot of coincidence slash serendipity. There's a lot of there's a lot that's out of your control. Okay. So it doesn't mean that you can't lead. You're actually perfect for that, for what I see here. It's just that you're realizing a lot of things will keep their their space, their spot on the unexplainable. Okay. So in the future, what I see for you and for this next semester is the Seven of Pentacles. And the Seven of Pentacles here is all about, it's all about creative work that is inspired from by other realms. Okay, maybe things that you listen, things that you tune into, and that really help you reconsider the way you've been doing things. I see you opening yourself up to creativity, but as a full-time job. Because now that you realize you are not the leader in the sense of a boss that tries to control what's going on, now you realize that you could actually create and lead in a very intuitive and more organic way. So you start listening to your intuition more. And I see that if you open yourself up for the game, for this task, then you're going to listen to even clear instructions on how to lead and who to follow, because you also need inspiration from other people. And this is going to be very practical. You're going to become a softer leader in the best possible connotation of this soft word. Okay. So, okay, this is what I see for you, but I want more details in terms of what you know and what you don't know. And then I have two cards: what's conscious and what's unconscious about this process. What you actually know is that with the Page of Swords here, what you know is that you've been receiving feedback, or maybe even reading books that tell you your style, your characteristics, your leadership characteristics needs to change somehow. You could have read this in a book, or maybe you received direct feedback from your subordinates, from people you consider to be okay at a lower rank than you. You know that it has to change, but maybe you don't know yet how to do it. And what you don't know also is that there are a lot of there's a lot of experience coming with this Nine of Swords here. Okay, two sword cards, and this is a nine. So a lot, what you don't know is that there's a lot of experience from previous jobs, or maybe from previous leadership scenarios, situations that are not only influencing this moment, but are actually going to be very helpful in this moment. It's as if you had to go through all of the experiences in your life and realize which ones were actually based on a different kind of leadership? Which ones were actually less based in ego and more based on making a connection with other people, planting the seeds for long term human growth? There is a lot of experience in your life, group two, that is actually very deep. But what I feel here is that for some years now, you don't have the time to actually concentrate on what's deep and what's not deep about your leadership practices. Okay, always reminding that leadership, because I clearly see people who have chosen this option as leaders, but leadership here could refer to being a leader in your family, in your group of friends, or at work, even being a leader for a new area of thinking. All of this apply. Okay, it's just this leadership energy. And you need to change some of the actual manifestations, your actions, your attitudes in the world when you lead. But you don't know that there are a lot of past experiences that already pointed at this direction. And now, if you could review, this is the advice here. If you could review your life and look for all the moments in which you were a leader, you will see that your success was not based on external rules or on your image of how a leader should be. Your success was based on openness, on recognizing the gifts and the talents of each person involved in a given enterprise. And also, and this is very important, your leadership was, your successes were based on overcoming fear and having an ongoing sense of adventure in your life. Risk, leaders need to accept risk taking, and you could do that. But it's like, up to now, or up to the end of this semester, this is changing, okay? But up to the end of this semester, you thought more of leadership as something you should show others, something you should impose on others, or maybe a kind of appearance, attitude, posture you need to put there in the world so that people could respect you. And now you're going to focus more on the relationship side of things, on the intuitive side of things, because you have already been receiving feedback on your leadership and on how it could improve. Okay, out for me as a leader, because I was always showing up strong and with this image, etc. But now I realize that it's not about image. Now I realize that what has always worked for me was my humanity. Every success I had was based on being a human leader, a leader based on relationships, on networking, if you want. So it's very important for you to review your past now. There are secrets in your past and the way you did things in the past that, under a different perspective, under a different light, they could actually become lessons for your future, for this next semester specifically, and more intensely. Um, what helps this process is that you are not the kind of person that's doing everything because you need money or everything based on money. Okay. You are not the kind of person that is just, it's like you're counting everything that you're doing, you keep score because you keep up this attitude. This attitude is very nice. Keep at it. Money is not everything in life, and you already know it. What you don't know is that you're afraid of showing a softer side of you when you lead, due to some kind of childhood experience, probably. But this could also be more recent trauma, a more recent difficult experience in which you had to kind of lock yourself a bit more, put more of this facade we were talking about, because you were afraid of getting hurt. So now the real challenge, more vulnerable person, and to concentrate on each action and what each action can bring to your associates. You have to concentrate on your everyday activities and not on your image. But the thing is, it could be scary for you to do that, because you've learned and you've operated under this impression for a long time. You've learned that you really needed to build yourself up to a facade and then lead from this, from this even stage, okay, that you've built for your own leader character. Okay, I do not see you leaving the role of a leader. I see you as a wonderful leader. It's just that your perspective is shifting right now, and you're realizing that all of the posing that you did and everything that you thought was important, in terms of getting external validation, these are not characteristics that actually make you a leader or a better leader, or even that help in your projects. These are just a kind of weight that now you have to, shed in order to have even more energy and become a better leader. And this is confirmed by the advice card, which is the Emperor, which is the major arcana for leadership. This Emperor here talks about knowing exactly what each person can bring to the table in terms of a project, a family, etc. That's what makes you a leader. And then knowing how to combine these different characteristics, these different possibilities, talents, etc. So this is what you should focus on, and not images, appearance, etc. And this is something that you're afraid of, as I can see here. Right now, you're not being fair to yourself. So, what's being asked of you is, please look at your past experiences as a leader in a fair manner. Really analyze what has helped you and what has not helped you. I'm going to give like a foolish example, but it's like, is your suit really helping you, or is it about your abilities of dealing with different people and understanding their value and what they bring to the table? Okay, it's like when you say that your appearance, your image, your facade is more important than what you're actually doing, this is actually unfair to yourself, okay? Because you're diminishing your value. And this is what's going to change for the second semester. You will start to see your value under a completely different light, and you will start to put yourself in the role of a leader, um, in a completely different way. But I'm not going to lie to you. This won't be easy. This following semester is still a semester in which you're dealing with your fears, you're trying to overcome them. Just remember that in order to deal with all of these emotions, these traumatic emotions that I was talking about, that could be from like a more immediate past, or even from childhood, in order to deal with them, you have to suffer them at least once more again, in the sense of, if you need to cry, you have to cry. If you need to write, you have to write. If you need to draw, you have to draw, because it's the only way to just move through fear. Okay, otherwise, whenever you need to show yourself as a different kind of leader, to be a bit more vulnerable, to be a bit more open to other people's input, and at least put a little less of energy in your first aid, your armor, you are going to get paralyzed. I don't see you here as paralyzed yet. I see you here as really shy right now. Like you're not shining bright the way you used to. But that's actually good, because you're rethinking your way of doing this leadership role from now on. Okay, but this following semester is still like a boot camp, internship, something like that, because you're still moving through your fears. Okay, working through them one by one. And I have a card from the Timeless Flux Oracle here, which is the mystery. It's written in Portuguese. I'm Brazilian. And the inscription says, the mystery, it's what's in between the squares, because I have some some cubes, squares here. And the mystery is not, the message is the mystery is not in the form, it's in between the form. The mystery is what we cannot conceptualize, what we cannot classify, what we cannot understand. So focus a little bit less in the material aspect of things and in the way they look. Focus a little bit less in appearances and focus more on your everyday duty, your everyday work. Even if you're scared about that, about not putting so much energy in defending yourself through image, this is going to be very important, and this is going to be the challenge for this next semester and for the rest of 2020. I hope you have enjoyed it. Now I'm going to start with option number 3. Okay. I'm really sorry for those of you who are asking me readings. I just want to remind you and anyone who watches this video later on that I am going to have a live pick a card reading session this next Friday, okay, at 6 p.m. Brazilian time, which I believe is 8 p.m., 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this session on Friday is going to be open for questions. I'm going to do a general preview, okay? A provision for June specifically, but I'm also going to have some time to do. Sorry, guys, I'm just trying to organize myself here. I'm also going to have some time to read for people who arrive in the session, and of course, I'll have some kind of limit. I have not yet decided if I'm going to do 3 or 4 readings for specific questions, but I'm going to have free readings on this next live. Okay, so please press the reminder button and I'll see you there. Today I'm just doing a free option reading live because I'm experimenting with this format myself. And I'm shuffling the cards again here because I feel like I needed to change the energy a bit. I had pre-shuffled the cards, but I've decided to do it again in order to concentrate myself for this message. Okay, so just a moment, please. And which don't know, and okay. Now I'll have one card from the Moonology deck. Okay. And I already have the card separated, a card from the Timeless Flux Oracle. So for option number 3, I'm starting with balance, spirituality, and practicality. And this is Gemini. This is Pisces, full moon in Pisces. Okay. So starting with that, I see that the rest of 2020 is going to be about regaining a little of a practical perspective on things. Maybe this period of isolation, if you're watching this video as it's been recorded, or just like a little bit after it's been recorded, maybe this period of isolation has left you a little I feel that for most of you it was a time in which you were experiencing a lot of spiritual development. Maybe you've been trying some new practices, meditation, yoga, working with the cards yourself, reading, etc. No matter what it was, you were getting deeper and deeper into some sort of spiritual practice, and you felt the progress. So I see that for the second semester, you will need to come back to earth a little bit and explore ways of implementing what you've learned in real life, something like that. Because I see you here as the Hierophant. This is the second time this card is here in this spread, okay? But in a completely different way. I see you as someone who has reached a new level of understanding, a new level of connection. this is certainly my spiritual group here from these readings today, but you have reached a new level of understanding, a new level of connection with your intuition, with God, with this, with spirit, whatever you want to call it. Okay. So now it's a grounding moment. It's coming back to earth and understanding what your contributions may be from this new perspective. Okay. And then I have, for example, well, sorry, I'm having trouble getting the card. Just a moment. Okay. It's stuck on the table. Um, I have as a little context, and for your past, I have the Ten of Cups in reverse. What does it mean? It means that um, you came to this spiritual, in-depth spiritual practice, or maybe you found it because you were feeling really out of tune with happiness in general. You were feeling like you lost your way, but in a very radical sense. You lost the path to happiness and to whatever made you whole and happy. So you thought that you really needed some kind of spiritual guidance, and you put effort, you put energy into this practice, and it really helped because now you understand with this Ten of Pentacles in reverse. Now you understand that you can have some kind of clarity or and some kind of grounding even when the external world, the material aspects of your life are not really collaborating. Okay, so yes, you have entered this kind of spiritual spiritual safe house from which you can radiate lots of peace and love. But now it's the time to get back a little to the material realm and to your everyday activities and understand, okay, I don't need to just live my life based on this shallow consciousness of things I had before, and then stop and do some kind of spiritual practice and come back so that I can stand it. Now, this is not what you want to do now. What you want to do is live your everyday life while you manage to keep whatever spiritual improvement you have been working on. Keep this energy with you as you go. Okay, so this is the message of balanced spirituality and practicality. Maybe there's a little bit of a belief for some of you that, well, you have material issues and money here and spirituality here as if they couldn't mix. And then you will also be working with that as the semester goes. Okay, I see that what you know about this situation, sorry, for the future, I'm sorry. For the future, I see you as this King of Wands. And it's very interesting that the King of Wands is at the end of this process because it talks about exactly that. It's using your fire, your energy, um your way of doing things in order to in order to organize your life and understand reality from a more grounded perspective. So the King of Wands has a strong connection to universe and a strong connection to spirit in the sense that every activity he dedicates himself to is aligned with the person he wants to be. And this is not only talking about self-sufficiency. It's also talking about the person this king wants to be already know how his talents are going to help others, are going to help the community. So this is a grounded individual, not only because whatever he's doing is working for him on his behalf, on his favor, But this is an even more grounded individual because they know what works for them works for everybody simultaneously. So it's a higher level of understanding how to align yourself to your purpose in this life. I see you getting there, but you just need to bridge the gap between money, the way you deal with money, and your beliefs around money, and spirituality. Okay, because they seem to be kind of disconnected in your mind, or maybe spirituality and work. Okay, now I'm going through the everyday grind here, and I don't need to think about spirituality right now. And once I return home and I'm really tired and I don't know exactly what I'm doing, then I'm going to pray, then I'm going to meditate in order to keep that work going. Now, you don't want that for your life anymore. You want to work from a spiritual perspective. You want to even, I don't know if you've heard that. This is one of the ads that's been from Mind Valley. That's been. This is not a this is not a commercial. I promise. This is not. This video is not sponsored by anybody. But there's a professor from Mind Valley that says we actually think that our spirit is in your body, but it's the other way around. Our body is in your spirit. I don't know if you have already seen that. And I think this is a very good way to describe it. You want to operate from this viewpoint in which your spirit, sorry, your body is in your spirit. You want every single activity you have every day to represent your higher values, these values that you've been cultivating, probably through isolation or maybe even at a different period, you've been cultivating for a certain time. um, you need to get down to earth with your spirituality. You need to be able to actually implement it and carry this better version of you, this higher version of you to your everyday tasks. So let's see what helps and what hinders this process. I see that with this, this is the Eight of Pentacles, okay? So I see that what's helping this process is that you know exactly what you have in terms of material abundance. So you know how to organize your life in a way that you're never left out, or you never need, you never need to overwork or to overextend your energy in order to fend for yourself. Okay, so it's something like that. You feel safe in this area, and that's maybe even why some of you started going into spirituality. Like I've this is taken care of, so now I'm going to explore my spiritual side a bit more. But what you don't know, that's also related to this feeling of material safety, is that you are not, um, you are not saving for the future. Okay, now this is a complicated message. Okay, um, but I understand it. So I'm going to try to convey it the best way I can. Okay, and then you let me know in the comments or here in the chat if you understand it or not. It's like that. You you are safe when it comes to your finances. That does not mean that you're rich or anything, but it's, you may be a little smug about, you know, I'll always have money. I know that I'll always have money. Maybe because you're a nice person, maybe because you're always working, but you're not afraid of entering any phase in which you don't have money. You're not afraid of this money ending for any reason. Okay, and I'm not saying that it will end. This is not in the cards. Sorry, I'm having some troubles with my computer. But back to focus. I'm not saying that the money will end. What I'm saying is, because you feel so carefree about money, then you're missing some chances of saving for the specific objectives you have in life. You're missing some chances of better organizing your financial life. I do not mean to say that you're going to suffer any kind of tragedy and you're going to lose anything. So start saving for a rainy day. No, this is not the message. The message is you could be more strategic about how you use your money. Okay. I hope this makes sense, but it's a complex message because it's also related to your spirituality. It's maybe for some of you, I see that you could have a belief like, um, okay, I don't need to worry about money because I'm practicing with my spirituality. Okay, now you've reached a new level of understanding on what spirituality means for you in your daily life. And now you start to realize for this next semester that spirituality includes the material aspects of your life. Thinking about these material aspects, thinking about the energy involved in, as I was saying to option number two, the energy involved in getting your money and how to spend this energy. When you spend money, you're actually spending energy. So it's not even about saving for a rainy day. If you're saving energy, you're saving for an objective that maybe it's very important for you, but it's coming down the line in this next 4 to 3 months. Okay. So you don't spend it like that anymore because you know you just understand that money it's energy and you want to save for the time when you're going to do that trip or for the time when you need the resources, the raw material for this creative project, whatever. Okay, so you need to shift this mentality and to understand how abundance through spirituality works with you when you work with your money as energy. Okay, this message was also there for option number two, but it's coming here in a completely different context because you are actually more spiritual, a more of a spiritual person, and you have just reached with the end of the semester, you have just reached a point in which you have a completely different level of clarity when it comes to spirit, to spirituality, to spiritual themes. Okay, but you still need to deal with your money more. You still need not to separate money and material abundance from your spiritual blessings. They are part of your spiritual blessings and the attitude you have towards them. Being careful, being strategic about your use of them is also being careful and being strategic about the use of your own spirit. Okay, so that's deep. And I also have here a message about what helps and what hinders in this process of balancing spirituality and practicality. I have the Nine of Cups, okay? And in this Nine of Cups, I like this representation very much. These are all skeletons in the La Santa Muerte deck. And this skeleton seems to be dancing. You know, she has the cups here. Some of them are spilling because she's dancing and she's very happy, okay, with this Nine of Cups. This is a moment in which you know that you're about to reach a high level of fulfillment. You can already feel you can already feel it. You can already feel this kind of happiness, but you know that there's more to it. So like it's the pre-happiness, okay? It's Christmas Eve. It's New Year's Eve. It's the pre-moment. You know that's more to it. You know that you're going to find something beautiful about yourself and and allow yourself to be completely abundant, but you are at this moment also very happy. You've been much worse and you know that now you're closer to achieving your goal in terms of spiritual and mental physical satisfaction. Okay, what hinders this process is the Ace of Pentacles here. Okay, so I see that. Okay, I have two messages coming through here with this card. Message number one, see what resonates. Message number one is you're the kind of person that's always looking for that one unique idea that's going to make you financial solid for the rest of your life. If you are this kind of person, this is actually hindering the process, okay? And I'm going to tell you why. Because whenever you focus your energy in getting the idea, in getting the opportunity, etc., you're acting from a lack mentality. You're acting from a space in which there's only one thing that you could do that could work out. And also, you're acting from a space of control, from a control mentality. So, manifestation is about knowing exactly what you want and then not controlling the how, operating with circumstances, even if you don't believe in the law of attraction, manifestation, whatever you want to call it. But you know that if you are flexible and if you operate considering the circumstances that are being presented, you'll be more successful. But if you, with your new level of understanding, your new level of spiritual understanding, now also believe that the universe is working on your favor, then consider that every time you say, okay, I'm close to reaching this idea that's going to be the idea of my life, you're acting out of a belief that there's only one idea, there's only one thing that you could do in this life, and this is attracting lack, and it's attracting boredom also, because of course all of the ideas that, well, the ideas you have, they take some time to develop, and you might find yourself feeling anxious, like, well, where are the results? This was the idea, so it had to be, you know, fruitful like that. I want to see the results right now. So if you're this person, stop that right now. But as I told you, there's a second message that's possible. It's not only for people who are out for this idea, the biggest idea of their lives in order to make money, but also there's a message here for people who are always listening to others when it comes to what to do with their money. Okay. So I see you receiving these messages. I see you receiving these insights and just following blindly because, oh, you're not the person who knows what to do with your money. Think twice, because everybody needs a strategy to deal with money, and strategies are going to vary from person to person. We are not all here under the same purpose. We are not all here manifesting the same kind of path in life. So you need to get a grip and understand how your money can work um, in for your objectives and with your objectives. Then you understand the need to save a little bit more. Then you understand that money is part of your abundance and even your spiritual abundance. Things are not really unconnected. When we say spiritual abundance, physical abundance, money, spirituality, we're always talking about different kinds of energetic manifestations, and they are here divided or presented divided in this realm only for pedagogic purposes, if you know what I mean. So, okay, then I have as a piece of advice the hermit. Yes, of course. You need at this time to to take some time to think about everything that you want in life, especially when it comes to money, and understand um, what's the relationship between the work you make, saving, how much you listen from other people, or how much you want these big ideas, because you start to see this next semester that based on your new levels of understanding, of spiritual understanding, as you get back down to earth, as you ground yourself more and more, you will need to become more and more responsible for your money too. Okay. And this includes saving. As a conclusion, I have the Five of Cups. And the Five of Cups here, I really want you to take a look at this representation in my Santa Muerte deck. Okay. There's a whole labyrinth going here, going on here, in this skeleton scalp. Okay. If you haven't heard these are all skeletons. This is an all skeleton deck. Okay, La Santa Muerte deck. I like it very much. But this Five of Cups here was in reverse. And what I see in as a summary of everything I've said is, as a conclusion, is that at this moment it's very important for you to integrate your material knowledge, the knowledge you have on how things work, etc., and your knowledge, your spiritual knowledge. Okay, they are not supposed to work separately. They are supposed to be integrated, and this is your challenge for the next semester. Okay, so I don't see you having any kind of financial problem, a huge financial problem. I don't see you. Well, I see you keeping the same situation you are at right now. But I see you really understanding how you can be a spiritual person and still have strategies, practical strategies. Okay. It was said since the beginning, balance spirituality with practicality. And these were only details on maybe how to do it better or how to do it in depth. Okay. So I hope this message has helped. And once again, I'm going to be back here on Friday and I'm going to take questions to answer. Okay. I'll probably not answer all the questions, depends on how many people show up. But I'll answer at least the first 3, 4 questions that people ask me, and I'll also do a provision reading for the month of June. So if you want to ask specific questions for free, or if you want to hear to this live provision setting on June, come back on Friday. I'm sorry for my nose; it's really itching right now. It's how dry the weather is here in Rio de Janeiro right now. But come back on Friday. Listen to your preview. Oh, sorry, I just saw that I've forgotten a card for this last group. That is, see, it's in Portuguese here, but it shows this cloaked figure. Okay, I'm just going to explain it briefly. This cloaked figure representing spiritual protection. Okay, and the description goes, "I'm protected. I feel, and I don't have to see." This is beautiful because it really fits your reading. I don't see these cards in advance, so they surprise me a lot. But the idea is, okay, don't forget that you're protected. So you can save, you can design different strategies with your money, but in general, whatever kind of spiritual growth you have achieved this past semester is going to go on for next semester. And you just need to consider your financial issues more carefully. But back to what I was saying before, on Friday, I'm going to have a reading here with June provisions and some free questions. So if you want to join me on Friday, I'll be really happy. If you've been here up to now and you like this reading, you like these messages, do not forget to leave a like and maybe comment. Okay, I'll be here on Friday again. Thank you very much. Bye bye. Have a nice night.